Thank you for joining me. My name is Shelby. I am with Divine Love with Shelby on Instagram and YouTube. I also was formerly, and I'm still a part of Three Divine Feminines. Hello, Betania. Today, Betania is going to be joining us and sharing her twin flame journey and the different things that have helped her on her path. So, I think you press, oh, here you are. She's popping on now. So you guys,
Hi.
hi.
Hello.
Let's kind of cut off my head a little bit.
I know. Like, you can
Here we go.
hi.
Let's see.
I know. I'm like, am I too close to the phone?
Right. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us.
Hi.
You're going to have to bear with me. I was under the tall, tall trees all day and pollen is piling up everywhere. And so my allergies have been kicking my butt today.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Great for my, sorry, go on.
No, it's okay. I have allergies all the time here too, so I feel like
It's great for my spirituality and my connection to be in that setting, but my nose has not got the memo yet.
like
My nose is like, no, we don't want to do this.
oh.
Right.
Hey, well,
So, first of all, tell me a little bit about yourself.
okay, so I would guess I'm a human first. I'm a mom. I'm a musician. I'm super into creative stuff. I do work in like a more boring job, but spiritually, I love to read cards. Um, so yeah, who I am a person. Ever since I was really, really little, my mom is a very spiritual person too, so it kind of runs in the family. And yeah, I mean, there's always been, like a sense that there's just so much more out there than meets the eye, right?
Yeah.
And magic is real, right? And that we are magical beings. So, a lot of different practices in that sense, like a lot of rituals and people all and setting intentions and knowing that, that we have guides and that we have other beings that are out there sort of supporting our journey.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's a little bit about who I am, right? It's so hard to do that because you're just like, I am like the most infinite being,
Right.
eternal, endless, and but on Earth and in this incarnation, right? Yeah, I'm a mom. I'm really big into like spending time with family, like you are. I love reading for other people and reading cards and talking about spirituality with a lot of my friends. And I love being musical and singing and playing guitar. And, those are all just like little tidbits of who I am. And I definitely, yeah, I just feel like I'm a very, I don't know, like connected person, I guess. I love connecting with other people and connecting with Earth and the universe and just kind of feeling out, on a day-to-day basis, like what's going on here, right?
Hi, Letitia. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, I totally know what you mean. So, this isn't a question I usually ask, but you said that your mom is spiritual.
Yeah.
Um, so did she grow up religious or has she always been spiritual?
My mom sort of grew up, I guess, like Catholic for a while, and then she kind of veered off and did her own thing. And met a lot of friends, like, and this, she's like a little hippie, so she had a lot of friends in the 60s who were into magic and rituals and candles and manifesting and stuff like that. So we've always had altars at our house, and we kind of, my sister and I, my sibling and I, grew up around a lot of sort of magic in that sense. More
That's
like,
so
I'd
cool.
say, like, not not like crazy, like negative stuff, like really, really beautiful sort of appreciation. And my mom does photography too, so a lot of appreciation for nature and for ourselves and for women. And my mom is like a total feminist, so she used to run an organization for women's health, and she would do workshops for women. And yeah, so she's very much like a very strong um, kind of leader in her community and has always been that way. So that's kind of what my sibling and I grew up around. So um,
That's amazing.
I like a lot of magic in a sense of like, ritualistic stuff like altars,
Yeah.
like that. Um, but, nothing like, I mean, I wish it had been like out in the woods and like, like other stuff that we see like witchy people doing. But it was more like, we just had like altars at home. And again, she was born Catholic, and my grandmother was Catholic, but she kind of like went her own way and didn't raise my sister and I super Christian, although my grandmother really wanted us to kind of come and join the fold.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
um, but yeah, we've always kind of like done our own thing. And I think ever since I was like, I don't know, maybe like 13, 14. I don't know if you were this way, Shelby. Like, did you ever read like books on Wicca or like books on magic when you were younger? No, like I was super into that. Like,
Not until not until I was in my 20s.
right.
But my mom had told me, like, after her parents had passed away when she was grieving, that there was no such thing as God. God wouldn't have killed her parents. And
Well,
so I was on a search into every religion. Like, there's got to be, I talked to somebody, like, there's more.
yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh, that's really intense. Like, did they pass away like in a tragic way? Your grandparents, or
Well, breast cancer with her mother that spread to her body. And then a year later, my grandpa died. And so,
yeah.
that was just like her dark night of the soul.
I mean, it's so hard to like have faith in that too, right? Like in that there is something like a bigger plan out there when
Hi,
really
Dana.
happen. So I can totally see why your mom would say that, but that's so intense. And you were like,
Yeah.
no, there's no God. Let me go figure it out.
I mean, and people do believe that, so to each their own. And I totally got to figure it out for myself, which was kind of cool.
I mean, I think that's part of the human journey, right? I think, it's respecting what others believe, right? Like I always respected my grandmother's Catholicism and her beliefs. And, and I loved her through, you know, everything, all the times that she wanted to take me to church and all that stuff. And I did go with her often, actually. Um, and, anyway, yeah, but I think that's part of the human journey. It's just kind of like accepting who we are,
Yeah,
everybody believes. And, there's different ways to kind of get there, like to find
definitely.
nirvana, right? And to be enlightened. There's no like, I think there's no wrong way if you're searching, right?
Right. Whatever calls to you.
Yeah.
Okay, so um, my next question is, when did you first encounter your counterpart and any kind of magic surrounding that?
Yeah. So, okay, but there's like a whole story before that. But okay, so
Yeah, go ahead and start before.
before I encountered my counterpart, I didn't really. I mean, I always kind of grew up hearing about soulmates and stuff like that and spiritual connections, but it wasn't until like 2015 that I actually was with someone else who, as soon as I got with that person, like I started seeing all this twin flame stuff come up like on Facebook, and then I started doing a lot more research into the subject, and then I joined like a bunch of different Facebook groups, and met a lot of friends who were on the journey and started doing readings for really lovely people and sort of understanding like what they were going through and seeing that it was very just real. I mean, I think a lot of people maybe lately are just kind of like, oh, it's divine counterpart. Let's change the titles and all this other stuff. But I really feel like I've done so many readings for people that have very similar patterns and how they meet and what they're feeling and the connections that they're feeling. It's really hard for me to just like deny and be like, no, like it doesn't exist. It's like, and sometimes like you feel like, I mean, I felt like I made stuff up all the time, like I was like, I don't know, was this real? Like, did I really feel this? Like, is this person really, this deeply my counterpart? Anyway, so yeah, in 2015, I kind of started that journey. I was with somebody that was a very spiritual person, but that I needed a lot of boundaries with. And from there on, that was like a few years of really, really hard lessons and like a lot of partaking in like a lot of different spiritual ceremonies, which were really, really beautiful. And that led to like an even bigger spiritual awakening for me. So like starting in 2015 through 2018. And then that person and I split up and I was alone for a while and I kept growing and I kept doing a lot more like, more ceremonies, meeting more people, still talking about twin flames. And then I met my person in 2019. So it was a little while ago. We actually met online and it was really cool. Very like instant connection, super like sexy, fun, flirty connection, really sweet. I found out that we have like very, very similar interests and yeah, like very instantaneous. And then we ended up meeting. I was actually moving to the same city that he was living in because I was going to go to school. And we ended up meeting. And when we met, like that first time that we met, I was just like, it was very like undeniable that, I thought there was like a really cool connection, but really meeting in person, I don't know. I can't even describe like the kind of bond like when you look at somebody and you're like, oh my god, like I actually think this is my person. Like it's very kind of crazy. It's just like a really like out of this world feeling, and everything that happened that day was like so cool, and like the signs that I saw, and just like the energy that we exchanged together. We just hung out at a park and talked for like a long time, but to me it just felt like wow, like where have you been? Or like I've been, not that I've been searching, but kind of like, yeah, like maybe I've been searching for you and I just can't believe that you're here. And at the same time, like really just to me at least kind of terrifying because like, you're like, wow, like I've been wanting to meet this person forever and I have, and now what, like what, now I want to be with you. Now I want to like, I want everything to be perfect. Um,
Right.
but it was not so. I mean, it's perfect, perfectly divine, right?
Right.
Perfect in alignment with our journeys and our growth. Because I think meeting him also just catapulted both of us into like a lot of spiritual growth and into facing a lot of maybe unhealthy patterns that we both had about like how we bonded with people and how we kind of related to people. And so I was like, it was shown constantly to me that I really needed to like tighten up my boundaries with people, right?
A
And
constant thing for me.
just like a constant reminder that, also it's not only the journey about, me and that person, but also just like our own journey. And so it's a constant reminder that we just kind of have to go back to ourselves all the time. But that day was like magical. I still, when I think about the fact that like, I've met my person, I still can't believe it. And I think it's super cool that there's somebody out there that like just when he looks at me, like I know he sees me, and it's like in the most deepest way that I've ever been seen by anyone, like I've never
Yeah.
like you and I, like we see each other and we're close friends and stuff, and like we know we get each other, and that's also like a really deep and beautiful connection. But like just the way that this person looks at me, I'm like, oh my god, just I it's unbelievable. Like the feeling is just like peace and kind of scary at the same time, but also just really beautiful, you know.
Like they can just see into your soul.
Literally, I don't feel like I even have to explain anything. Like one of the reasons um we're not really talking right now, but one of the reasons why he's like my favorite person is because of that. It's because he's like he literally I feel like he understands me better. Even
Yeah.
family, sometimes, even sometimes better than my child who's with me like 24/7. I feel like he just there's just something about the way he sees the world and he sees people that's like really profound and really deep, and it's beautiful, you know.
Yeah.
So
So,
that's like a big answer to that question.
sorry, what was that?
That was like a really big answer to the question.
Well, you kind of went right into my next question, which is tell me about your story.
Okay, yeah. So so we met that day in person after like chatting online for a few months because we were in different not country, well, yes, countries. And so when I got to the same city that he was living in, we met up in person and we had like this really magical, really sweet, innocent day. And then after that, he was often like he still is like, I'm presuming, a very busy person. He works a lot and is always like into his music and his projects and stuff like that. So we didn't really see each other very often. Maybe like in that whole
Hello, thank you for joining us. Sorry.
year. We saw each other, I think like maybe twice that year, and then yeah, I mean, since 2019, I think we've hung out like 4 or 5 times, not very often, you know. Um, so yeah, so after that, like but we would talk a lot all the time. I was going to school for music, so we had a lot of stuff in common. We'd always talk about like, bands that we like and spirituality, and a lot about spirituality. Um, and it was always like really sweet and fun. Yeah, really flirty and really sweet uh, exchanges, even if we weren't hanging out so much. I think for me, like after meeting him, I was like, I want to like be with you now, and
Yeah.
like I was like, why can't we be together now? Like, what's the issue with being together now? But there was always like something in the way, which I think it's just part of our journey, right? So I don't want to see it as like obstacles, but there was just always a lot of things like either other people or other projects or other things that were more important, like career or other stuff. Like for me, I also am a single mom, so there's just always a lot going on. So we didn't get to see each other. I mean, as much as I wanted. I think we probably saw each other enough for his for what he can handle. Probably like I'm sure he was. I'm sure he has like or had intense feelings about our knowing each other because I think part of meeting your twin is like triggering a lot of things within you. So there's always those really wonderful moments that are very triggering where you're like, oh my God. a lot of it, there's a lot of intensity, and I would say more so than like with anyone else. Like nobody can annoy me or piss me off more than this person.
Right?
It's like crazy because I am not like an overreactor about a lot of things. Like I'm very usually like happy go lucky and sunshine, and he can really like just bring out like a lot of things that I also needed to work on, again, like boundaries and like not rushing into things or like just allowing things to unfold in their own time, developing more patience around myself and my own emotional maturity and his own path and where he's at as well. We have an age difference too, so there was like a lot of, like just we're in different paths at the time. So to me, I was just always like, we met like too soon, or we met like not at the right time. But it really was like the perfect time, and it's still the perfect time now, um, even if we're not talking right now. And I still like think, like I said, he's like still one of my favorite people. Um, Next question.
Okay. Um, And by the way, for those of you who are joining us, we'll open it up at the end for your questions that you have for Betania or I about the journey, about the Twin Flame journey. This is actually my last question.
Yeah.
What has helped you on your journey? Like, what books, what programs, what have you done that
Um,
has helped you?
I've had to learn, like, because we were just talking about how triggering a lot of it can be. Um, I've had to learn to like really come back to myself very often, and to know that you know if it's not happening right now, it's for there's a lot of different reasons, and maybe some reasons that I don't even know about, right, on a spiritual level. And so I've had to learn how to like meditate more, be way more patient. And I think as like a mom, like we think we're very patient, but I have had to learn to be really, really patient, um,
Yeah.
with my own,
Raising two boys, I was like, I am patient,
right? Like,
but I was not patient at all. Now I'm patient.
because you meet your person, and you're like, all right, well now, like this needs to happen today. Like we get married tomorrow, and you're like,
Hmm.
universe is like, not quite, friend, not quite.
Not, yeah,
So it's been helpful to really, like, you and I always talk about this too, like to stay really centered. So like Hertz music helps a lot. Um, what else? Like reading books on like spirituality always helps me. Like Buddhism has helped me a lot, and staying mindful of my behavior and in my actions, and really like aware of what I'm thinking and my thoughts. Also like joining really cool groups or like support groups with friends, and like making friends along the journey who actually understand what's really going on. Because I think it's kind of hard from an outsider's perspective, like unless you're going through it, like a lot of people don't get it, and a lot of people think you could be a little crazy, or you know what I mean? Like it's just,
yeah,
if you're not talking to other people that are kind of on this path, like it's harder to I don't know, even to break it down or explain. People are just like, yeah, okay, that's like a soulmate, like calm down. And you're like, no, like it's way deeper than that. And anyway,
I feel him in my body.
yeah,
Like, it's not the same.
like I like, I like it, like literally standing next to you and they're not there.
Hmm.
Dreams or even like lucid dreaming, like I've literally been able to go and see like where he's at, or like where he's sitting, or like what he's doing. And it's crazy. Like anyway, so yeah, what has helped me is just a lot of support with friends. You know, not getting too many readings, because I feel like there's a big part of it where like you just want to like know everything like that's happening right now, and I need to like
Yeah.
have 30 readings a week, and like and I think like really just again like stepping back and just coming back to yourself and grounding and listening to Hertz music, connecting with nature, doing what you really, really love. Like everybody has passions that they're into, so go do that. Go keep working on yourself. Go keep like developing who you are, and that's kind of what I've been focusing on. Like I haven't spoken to my person in almost a year, and I've been really just focused on me and healing a lot of things inside of myself too. So yeah, that's been really helpful, and really great people like you have been really wonderful and helpful. And yeah, it's not easy. There's a lot of parts about it that where kind of forces you to really see some things about yourself and other people that can be really dark. So
Hmm.
it's not all like rainbows and I don't know what else is beautiful, like sunsets.
Sunset.
Like it's not all time. There's a lot of healing and trauma from childhood that you kind of have to face and see your own actions. And man, yeah, it's been like therapy has been helpful too. So I would recommend that to everybody, not just on this journey. But yeah, I feel like those are the things that have been really helpful for me.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. All of those things have been helpful,
Yeah.
especially the whole having people that are on this journey that you can talk to, because I mean, you can't possibly understand what it's like to share a soul with another human unless you're experiencing it yourself. Like, I would have thought that I was crazy 5 years ago.
Like I, in the beginning of the journey, when things are really, really intense and I could literally feel this person just like laying it next to bed, like next to me in my bed, or like, in a spiritual way. Wow. Yeah. Like, you're like, I literally thought I was going crazy. I was like, okay, cool. Mama's lost it. Like, fun. But yeah, so, because I feel like spiritual resonance is so deep that, it's really hard to like put into words, like unless you're actually feeling it with someone else. It's not just like a soulmate thing. Like you and I are soulmates. Like we have soulmates that are just best friends and even companions too. But this is just, again, brings up a lot of stuff for healing, and it's not always like super happy. Like, there's a lot of,
Right.
a lot of crying too.
Up and down and up
Yeah.
and down.
But always come back. I've always been able to come back to center, which is great. And again, having really good connections with people has helped immensely.
Yes.
So,
Well, it doesn't look like we have any questions.
okay,
Um,
I'm happy that I got to share.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing your story.
Of course.
And thank you all for joining us. We love you.
Thanks.
I love you all. All right. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.